Yo, what's good, everybody? Today is September the 2nd, 2025. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for the gift of life. Just thank you, God, for allowing us to see another day. We ask you, God, that you bless this broadcast as well as the viewers and their families as well. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Yo, what's good, everybody? Y'all come on in. Let me know what's going on. Type what platform you're watching on in the chat. Let me know who's in here, who's tuning in with me. Um, we're gonna get in here. We're gonna talk about these topics, and we're gonna get up out of here. Get ready for Thursday night. Start of another NFL season. It's the first of the month freestyle show though. So any of the guys topics that you guys want to talk about in particular, please feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll get to them. Um, yo, what's good, Sam? You know, you always got the invite if you want to come on and chop it up with me, man. You're more than welcome to. Let's see. Happy born day to Miss Cassandra Pittman, to Miss Tamika McCray. Happy born day abroad. France, my man Fran. Happy born day, my bro, my man John Woods. Owen Beckford. Miss Lori Beasley. My girl Tina, Miss Carrie Ann Rooks. My cousin Charles Bennett. Brother Joe Johnson. My man Steve McGill. Cedric Bueller. Um, Pastor Maurice Rose Jr., Audrey Taylor, Miss Shakira Muse celebrating on the day, Miss Jamina Morgan celebrating on the day, Miss Monica Boswell, happy born day, beautiful. Her birthday is today as well. And last but certainly not least, my cousin, uh, Miss Nicole Hicks. We call her Dominique, but happy born day, young lady. I hope everybody had a good week. Um, Joyous occasions, whatever the case may be. We uh we had a nice little family get together this weekend. I had a good weekend. Got together with some family I hadn't seen in a while. We had a little get together in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So it was good just to see all my aunts and uncles and some of my cousins, all the youngsters grown up now, and the version of us that we used to be 20, 30 years ago. It's kind of crazy seeing, but it's also a beautiful thing, especially like when, we get the chance to get together as family and friends and whatnot and socialize with one another just because. No homegoing service, no none of that nature there. But when we just genuinely get together to share some laughs, some food, of course, and just go down memory lane is always a beautiful thing. Um, yeah, and also before I get in too far into it, please keep our Harris family in prayer. Miss Naomi Harris, she lost her father on this previous weekend, as well as please keep the Hansford family in prayer as well. We talked about how Ed lost her mom last week, so please keep them lifted up in your prayers, and everybody else that lost, loved ones over the weekend. Man, it's like we keep hitting these waves where death is just seems like it's in abundance. So that's why I always, stress every week, make sure that we take time out to love on one another and be there for one another, man, because it's very important that we utilize this time that we have for, you know, don't take it for granted. Let's get to a place where we're not taking life for granted anymore. Um, but of course, man, let's get into it, man. I wanted to talk about that Michael Parsons deal. I don't know about everybody else, but I know it's quite a few of you guys. Our favorite time of year is upon us. And shout out before we even get to the pros. Shout out to my boys. Many people said that we couldn't do it, but we shocked the world. My Florida State Seminoles. We went up there. Well, no, we was home. We was at though, but beat Alabama. I keep trying to tell people Alabama is not Alabama anymore. Those days are gone. You know what I mean? They're literally living off of the prestige that they once had. They're not. Ain't nobody scared of Alabama no more. I'm saying it. You know, I don't think nobody's scared of Alabama anymore. Um, but we beat them, bust them upside the head, 31 to 14. So that was definitely a start to a good college season weekend Um, Colorado Buffalo Gut Buffs lost in a I guess what seemed to be a dogfight. It went down to the wire. They just couldn't pull it out. We gotta they gotta get a lot of stuff together down there in Colorado because you can't have three turnovers and only score 7 points. That's not a one formula for winning at all. So they definitely got some things down there that they got to clean up and get better at. But yeah, it's good to see Dion back. We got a glimpse of what they're gonna look like without Shador and Travis Hunter being there. Looking forward to seeing Travis play this weekend. And I ain't gonna just skim over that before we get into the Cowboys and everything. But I stated on this show at the beginning of the month that not the beginning of the month, but right after the draft, right before the draft, that I didn't think that Shador was an NFL quarterback. I want to go on record saying I stand corrected. I said that on that show in particular that he probably wouldn't make the roster, make me on a roster by week 1, and good for him. I'm happy for him, definitely. I'm glad I was wrong. He's on a roster, but there's been a lot of controversy over that. I really feel like they didn't keep him for football reasons. They kept him because, you know, they didn't want to face the backlash of. First of all, they didn't want him. None of the teams want him. We seen what Eric Dickerson had to say. He said he got that information from a reliable source. But and let me be clear, I'm a big fan of Shador. I'm a very big fan of Shador, both Shador and Shiloh. But just from what I've seen and my love for the game, um, he's very good. I'm not saying that he's better. He's probably better than Daniel Jones. I don't know. I think my grandmother would have been better than Daniel Jones if given the opportunity. Um, but it's like he's too valuable to see. I'm saying also trade for the hype he brings. Absolutely, that's what I was going to get to. He's too valuable of a. You dug yourself deep. If you didn't want him, you should have never picked him. That's the way I look at it. But you let the pressure get to you. Now you're stuck with a. I hate to use that word, but you're stuck with a commodity that you don't necessarily want. And it's like you don't want a car. You don't want this car, but somebody talk you into getting this brand car. You know what I mean? Now you got a car, but you stuck with a car that you don't really want. Your heart really wanted something else. And I look at it that situation. They talk about. I've seen different articles and from reporters and news people. They're in Cleveland. How they've never seen any rookie come in and be so effective in the community. So Shador's out there in the hood. He's giving back to the kids. He's doing everything that he's supposed to do. Um, but I'm talking about from a skills, just as strictly as a skill standpoint. Shador holds the ball entirely too long. I said it at Colorado. So if he holding the ball too long in college, I definitely think that it was going to transition over to the NFL. And he had that good game against the Panthers in week 1 of the preseason. But we see what happened after the fact. You know what I mean? That last game, when he got his opportunity, it was absolutely crazy. You know what I mean? So, um, like I said, I hope everything works out for him. But you know, he's definitely showed his value because I know the game that they played in Carolina, there was more Shador Sanders jerseys there than actual Panther players. I'm saying so every quarterback drafted before him has shown why they were especially dark. Absolutely, I agree. Uh, absolutely, because even when Dylan got in, Dylan Gabriel got in healthy that second week, and he was out there throwing. Looked like he ready. But like I said, I wish Shador the best. I'm just saying, just because I'm a fan of you, don't mean that I could disassociate the two. You know what I mean? When I coach my sons, my son playing football, you're not going to be a starter just because you're my son. Like my love for the game is trumps my. I ain't gonna say it trumps my fatherhood, but those are two different those are two different things. I ain't one of those quarterbacks. I ain't one of those coaches. I know coaches in the past that they become the coach of the team so that they can put their son where they want to, give their sons a chance, the opportunity, and congratulations to everybody else again. We finally reached our favorite time of year in Jersey. I know everybody else has been back for the last 3 or 4 weeks, but Jersey's back to school now. Um, but also, it's back to with the football season, not just college and the NFL. We back to Pop Warner season. That time is that time of year. So let's keep all the prayers and all the team moms, the players in perspective. I seen one incident already where this dude got arrested in high school. He literally got arrested for knocking his coach out. Like it's a different age and era. So just keep everybody prayed up. But it's back to school time in Jersey. We always go. Well, they going back this week. We always start school up there. After Labor Day. So it used to be funny how my cousins they would be in school for a whole month before we even started and different things of that nature there. But yeah, it's just I'm excited to see football is back. And I hope Shador does his thing. Um, and like Sam said, he showed his value as far as marketability. He has a fan base. He has people that's rooting for him. But I'm surprised another team didn't, go after him. Well, not really. That's for the same reason because you got people that's in it for business and you got people that's in it for football. If you're in it to make money and you're doing a business, man, I get it. But if you're just strictly for football purposes, I'm not surprised that nobody pulled the gun for the trade value, whatever the case may be. But he's going to have viewership, whatever game he's playing in or he's actually in. We're going to be tuning in, just like we did this weekend. Or a lot of people did this weekend for Arch Manning. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, and everybody was saying the same thing. Even when I was watching something earlier, and they were talking about how pretty much he stunk it up this weekend with the spotlight solely on him, and how that narrative we ain't really hear nothing about that as far as oh my god he's overrated, he's this and that. Everything was about Shiloh getting put out the preseason game for throwing a punch, and I'm not condoning that at all. But we also seen the video where dude was literally antagonizing him the whole entire game. I just hate that he fell for the bait because it wasn't guaranteed anyway that you was gonna get a roster spot. So don't do anything to jeopardize your chance at being an NFL player, bro. You got to be smarter than that, Shiloh. But I hope he gets another opportunity, at least like with a practice squad or whatever the case may be. Get to live fulfill his dream because I would definitely like to have a kid like Shiloh, not Shador, but Shiloh on my practice squad just because of the energy that he brings. Um, he doesn't take plays off. He's a football player through and through. Um, so I would definitely like to see him added on to uh, somebody's practice squad. Sam said, in my opinion, Manning did okay for only a third start in college, especially against Ohio in that defense. Yeah, it was a lot against him. It was a lot stacked up against him, especially coming in the season, the preseason as ranked number one. A lot of expectations on his shoulders. Of course, he's a man and what he did in his college quarterback. And I'm not saying that just because you typed that either, Sam. But real talk, I said the same thing. I was like I said, I was traveling and I was spending a lot of time with family this weekend, so I didn't really get a chance to watch the game. I watched the opening. I didn't even get to see the first drive or anything. I just seen like the pregame. Lee Corso do and shout out to Lee Corso. Thanks for all the memories. As he did his last uh, college game day this weekend, his last game pick. Said over 30 years ago he picked Ohio State to win, and he went with Ohio State. in Ohio State. So it was just fitting that it all started that this whole college football tradition with Lee Coast, so it ended where it started at as well. So I didn't get to actually see the game, but I did watch. I only got to see like the different news clippings and the little alerts that I got on my phone or whatnot. And I looked at the box score in particular just to see because everything I was hearing or all the jokes and memes that I was seeing online, with social media, the funny one with Eli and Peyton, like, man, see, I knew he was adopted. It was a funny meme that I had seen about it. But when I looked at the box score, I think he was like what was he, Sam? 17 for 30, 178 yards, one touchdown, one interception. I'm like, yeah, that, like, of course, if he had went out there and threw for 400 yards, like, people would have been like, see, man, yeah, he's definitely a man. But at the end of the day, like you said, they came in the preseason as number one. I believe Ohio State was number three. So all in all, it wasn't like he had a terrible game at all. But I don't know what people expectations are. But it's funny how that went under the radar when all we was talking about was Shiloh and well, not we, but these different sports shows, these different podcasts and what have you when it comes pertaining to sports. And it's like it's like almost like they hold we know it is how it is. They hold us to a different standard, and they hold them to a different standard. But he got his money. Um, I believe he's leading the way with NIL money this year, so he's gonna be all right. Trust me, I'm not feeling bad for Arch Manning whatsoever. Like you said, it was week one. We'll see where they go from here. Um, but Colorado, they got still got a lot of work to do. I like what they seen, but like I said, I was thoroughly impressed with my nose. Nose Nation is back. Florida State, they played the. I got the chance to watch the highlights early Sunday morning, and I like that quarterback we got back there. He's looking pretty impressive. Yeah, I can't wait to see how the season pans out for us. Um, but I was definitely not. It wasn't no upset to me. Everybody, oh my God, they beat. Like I said, I think the Alabama days are over. Just like in the pros, my brother strongly disagree. But I think Kansas City reign on top is come to an end too. I don't think they're going to be as dominant as they possibly were. How you doing, Sister Emmeline? Um, hey, looking for oh God, here we go with them birds. Hey, looking forward to the Eagles opener against the Cowgirls. We will repeat again, Eagles Nation. Okay, I like that early prediction. That's what I'm talking about. I like to get this talk started before the season actually even start. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait the week 15 before you start being loud with your picks and this my team, but I don't know who your team was all year. Um, I will say I don't know about no repeat again, but I will say I'm definitely pulling for y'all Thursday night. That goes without saying. I'm always rooting for whoever's playing against the Cowgirl. And being a Giant fan, y'all see I got my jersey on. I'm always gonna represent my team as much as I can't stand them jokers. Still, I'm never gonna forget the Giants. I don't believe in that jumping ship. I believe in once you're a fan for life. So we don't do that team switching over here. My brother, we go back and forth with that. I don't even talk. Me personally, it ain't nothing personal toward him. I just don't even talk sports with people that start off a conversation with, well, I used to rock with this one or this team. Like once you used to like you in the sports conversation with me, I'm not even gonna go back and forth with you. I believe that fans are supposed to be loyal to the end. Having said that, I'm not. I'm always be a Giant fan to the day I die. But I'm disappointed. I can't stand them. I'm upset with them, and I'm never gonna forget him for letting Saquon go. Although it's a catch-22, I am happy, and I'm not saying it just because he won. I said it. I said this literally. Uh, I wish my man was on here. A couple of my friends was on here to verify this, but I literally said it in Saquon's second year. He had that outstanding rookie year, but his second year, I said it then. I said I hope the Giants. I hope we trade Saquon. I said because Saquon has the future. Matter of fact, it came up in my Facebook memories. And a lot of my guy brother, shout out to Lamar. Lamar, come on, man, it's true. I said I didn't say that he was. I said he has the potential in the right system to be a first ballot Hall of Famer without question. And Saquon has shown that. So I think thanks again for Barkley. I get that all the time from my Eagle fan friends. And trust me, don't thank me because if it was up to me, y'all would not have him. Um, I would have gave him exactly what he wanted because he was the face of the franchise and everything that he did for the community and what he brought to the game. However, he was never going to win a ring with us. He was never going to win a ring with us at all. I don't believe so. So I definitely wanted to see him in a different system to see exactly how good he could be, and he showed. He showed us what he's capable of with in the right system and the right team and utilized the right way. Um, until we do something about our offensive line. The Giants haven't had an offensive line in over 25 years now. People always like, nah, you can't. Trust me, don't go back and forth when it comes to stats. That's not what you want to do, especially concerning my teams, because I tell people all the time, and they'd be surprised when they actually look it up and do the research. But the last Super Bowl that we won in 11, we were last in the league in 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 rushing that particular year. And when we won in the 4 years earlier than that, we was from the bottom in the league in rushing, even with Brandon Jacobs and Thunder and Lightning and all that whole hype and everything. So we waited way too long to get our line together or replenish our line. And until we do that, until we get that offensive line right, nobody's going to do anything. The Giants are not going to do anything. So I was happy to see Soy Khan go somewhere where he could actually have a chance to win in his first year there. And that's another thing. Like, it's one thing to let him go, but you don't give him to the division rival. Like, when we started doing that, like some of the best players, you're supposed to let the best player go to um, a division rival. Send them out to the Chargers or somebody we rarely see. Don't give them to somebody we got to play to to twice a year. Like, that ain't cool. Hope the little midgets get it together this season. Yeah, you can have your little midget jokes this week. Um, I think we're gonna do much better. Um, but we got a long way to go because another thing about the division is everybody, with the exception of Dallas, literally got better in the division than me. Um, you got the Redskins. They picked up Von Miller, I believe it was. They finally ended the holdout with their receiver. Um, you see what Philly did, and Philly, like you said, the Philly is the defending champ, so it should be a pretty interesting year this year. But let's hey, what's good, Sam?
What's going on?
Man, another day, man. So where you at?
Yeah,
Like,
we
are you a Lion fan?
oh, always
Okay, all right.
Lions, Tigers, Red Wings,
Okay.
Pistons,
See, I
Michigan
could dig it.
State.
Yeah, I could dig it. I could dig it. I like it like that when everybody root for the whole team. The only I'm the same way with in the tri-state growing up in Jersey, except for college sports because wasn't nobody really no fan of Rutgers. We didn't even know Rutgers really had a team at the time. So I like Carolina because my family grew up Carolina fans. Like, when college basketball, and when I first got it, I didn't like college football at all until I started playing. So I made the team at Westside. Like, oh, I gotta learn about this game. I didn't know anything other than street football. I was like, once I actually made the team, I said, let me start watching some of these games. And one of the first college games I ever watched was uh, it just so happened to be Florida State versus Florida in the swamp. And I just remember hearing that chant that, oh, it was like it was electric. It felt like I was there at the stadium. I was like, from then on, that was my team. That's back in the Charlie Ward days, and when the defense was scoring 21 points a game. I'm like, yeah, I've been a Florida State fan ever since. But other than that, I like everything except for the New Jersey Devils Because growing up as a church boy, I was like, I'm not rooting for a team called the Devils. So I would always root for the Rangers in hockey. But other than that, it's the Yankees, the Giants, the Knicks, of course. So, what's your take as a Lions fan? How do you feel about this whole Michael Parsons trade, man, with him coming to y'all division? Because arguably,
Well,
y'all might have the
honestly,
toughest division. I can't even joke about that. Y'all might be the best division in football overall.
yeah, I think Dallas may have dodged a bullet.
Mm,
Because after I found out that he's been having it, if he's been the epidural, spine, I think Dallas may have dodged a bullet because it's a lot of defensive players out there, a lot of guys that's hungry that I think Dallas can bring in, that'll fill that. They may not be at his level like tier one, but the tier two and even tier three guys can, you know, bring it on defense, especially if they're hungry.
hmm Yeah, I think they fumbled the ball. I mean, just like I was saying with my Giants, so you don't have a player of that caliber. You know what I'm saying? And you might be right. I just didn't like it. It's almost like a lot of these Trump supporters. And I don't care neither way. You know how I feel about it. I really don't care. But it was like it baffles me sometimes when you got some of these people that was supporting Trump in the early, and then they see what has transpired in these last 8 months, and now all of a sudden they just quiet. You know what I mean? They ain't got nothing to say. If you stand on something, stand on it. That's the way I am with it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
definitely. Like,
it's like,
all them supporters quiet that ain't been no homicides in DC in almost 30 days. They them supporters real quiet. They real quiet about the 50 shootings in Chicago this past weekend and the 7 homicides. So I think a lot of people want bad stuff to happen just because it's him. But I think when it comes to Jerry Jones, I think a lot of people had that same mentality, unless you that ride or die Cowboys fan, because
and that's
e-
that's the point that I was making with them, like especially the diehards, because everybody, oh my God, man, yeah, he ain't going nowhere. We got to keep him and all. Now all of a sudden, y'all trying to make the decision to trade him make sense. Well, Jerry was kind of, yo, come on, man, stop it, yo. You talking about this dude is the only dude other than Reggie White, the Minister of Defense, Hall of Famer Reggie White, and not to say that he was going to equate to that, but he's the only other player in NFL history to record 12 and a half sacks or more in his first 4 seasons. That's you don't let nobody like that go. However, I'm with you from the stand. I was watching It Is What It Is this morning. They season back. Welcome back to It Is What It Is. And Cam was making a good point. That's one thing I do say, and I always joke about it in terms of Jerry. But one thing I know, because I lived in Little Rock, Arkansas for years, so I already knew about Jerry Jones and the business side of Jerry from my days out there. I remember and I tell people all the time. At the time, Arkansas, the University of Arkansas, where the Razorbacks play at in Fayetteville, Arkansas. But I think it's Bud Walton Arena. They had the biggest. They had the biggest jumbotron in the country. Not Michigan State. Not like Jerry. This was before they even built the stadium. Jerry World now. This stadium didn't even exist yet. He was spending all his money at his old university. Like, I mean, and we went, and it's like you can't even watch the game because you so steady watching it. You're not watching the actual field. You're watching the jumbotron because it's so big. It was absolutely crazy. So I wasn't surprised when he actually built Jerry World. Um, but one thing I do say, and Cam, like I was saying, Cam, he made a good point. One thing I know I will say about Jerry, even over the course of years, even though he might seem stubborn and he gonna make you negotiate, Jerry come up out his pockets, yo. Jerry Jones has probably spent over $200 million, 200, maybe 20, almost 20 billion collectively over contracts. You know what I mean? And he only got 3 Super Bowls to show for it. It's like, yo, how much? You know, it's like, man, you talk about it. I know a lot of people don't like for us to get into it, but it's the truth hurts sometimes. How much money when it comes to the WNBA? How much money is the NBA supposed to spend and keep going in negative before we say, you know what, we got to cut ties with this thing. You know, we tried and we visited, but it ain't, the math ain't mathing. It's not making sense business wise for us to keep this WNBA going up. There's no slight to all the little girls that dream of this here, but from a business standpoint, we're not making the money that we're supposed to be making. And I ain't talking about the players. I'm
But they're not
talking.
making any money.
That's my point. So how
Like
long
zero.
but nobody want to talk about that. They want to talk
Well, they
about how these
did
players.
go the year before last. They only took a $65 million loss, and then last
Only
year they
65 million.
only took a $40 million loss. So, but at the end of the day, it's still a loss. Ain't nothing positive. So when I see during the All-Star game, they come out, with shirts that say "Pay us what you owe us." I'm like, well, what do they owe you? Like,
You better be glad that you got
it's a
paid.
privilege for you to even play,
Mm-hmm.
and you're demanding all this money. But I tell people all the time, look at the number of games. The WNBA only plays like a little over 40 games.
Mm-hmm.
Their season's only like 2.5, 3
I
months.
think it was 40, 41.
I'm
mean,
the thing is like you want all this
yeah,
money, and then when you have to play games back to back, like NBA players, they got to play back to back sometimes.
mm-hmm.
You complaining about it, but if you trying to get the money, you play as much as you can so people can, you sell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You market yourself. You show what your ability. Like you can't shoot 30% from layups and expect to make what Steph Curry making when he's shooting 39% from three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got 3-point shooters got a higher percentage than somebody with layups.
I just think that no man, I ain't even going. I'm not going there. I'm not going
No,
there.
go there, go there.
Oh, I'm not doing it. I got too many females that I love.
They're
But
gonna
yeah,
love you after.
it seems like a typical male female type situation. You know what I mean? We want everything they want. It's like women want all these rights until while it's convenient for them. You know what I mean? Like, nah, don't look at me any different. But yeah, no, you want a man so he can wash your car for you. Like, why is that a man responsibility if it's your car?
Well, you look at it like this: the NBA is kind of flashy. It's you're popular. Everybody know NBA players.
Yeah.
Especially if you represent that team. But I remember during the ESPY Awards, the host comedian had them put the camera on this sister that was sitting out there and
That
said,
was funny
"Oh,
too.
4-time," and everybody in there started clapping for her.
And it wasn't
And he's like, "Yeah, that's my friend's wife. I knew nobody knew WNBA players." Like he just exposed like all of that stuff. And I'm
yeah.
not saying that's bad, but you can't expect the same thing in 25 years that it took the other league 75, 80 years to
Yeah,
build.
exactly. And it's like this. I look at it too, like, and I said it before on one of the other shows. Like, another thing I feel like we got to stop doing is we got to stop overusing this word hate.
Mhm.
Oh, Marv, man, you just be hating on the WNBA. No, like just because I don't sit around and want to watch cricket on a Saturday, don't mean that I hate the game of cricket. I just have no interest in it. You know what I mean? Like I was having this conversation with somebody that's an avid WNBA player. Couple weeks ago, it was a big game. Might have been it was the All-Star game. because they asked me was I watching the All-Star. I was like, what All-Star game? The WNBA. Oh yeah, I forgot. You like hating on the WNBA and all that. I said no. I just wanted. I don't have no interest in it. It's really good though. It's really good. I'm not saying that it's not. I just have no interest in it. It's like every time I turn on the game and I try to support it within the first 3 or 4 minutes, I come down. Oh, that was a nice little cross. Oh, nice pass. What did happen? Blow the layup. It's like it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch it. And
Well,
the point that I was making to them was why you can't say that it's hate. Oh no, they be playing it and it's good basketball. Okay, you remember when I remember when Chris Clemens was at what is it East Millbrook? What's the middle school? That's East Millbrook,
oh,
right?
yeah, East Melbrook.
Okay, I remember him when they was playing something because I had never seen it in Jersey. They got the fifth quarter where they play the bench first. They actually start the game. It's hard to explain for people that don't know, but I remember seeing Chris Clemens play that in fifth grade before he became Chris Clemens, and I was saying it then. I'm like, this dude is different, and it was special. Having said that, I wasn't going to any of those games if one of my sons wasn't the mascot.
Yeah.
I wasn't just going to a fifth grade basketball game just to watch a fifth grade basketball game just for the pure sake that I love basketball. We don't just happen to go out there Saturday mornings to just watch Pop Warner, and we don't have no nephew or no cousin or no friend that's playing just because we love the game. So it's not about hating. I just have no interest in it. Ain't nobody fighting for pickleball like that or what I call fake tennis. Like, you know what I mean? So if you want to go hard for the WNBA, fine and dandy, but don't label me as a hater just because I have no interest in it. You know what I mean? That's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, and the thing about Chris, when I first saw him, my son played with his brother first,
Yeah, Carly.
and then I saw Chris after one of the games. He was just out there on the court. It was during halftime, and he was out there just way behind the 3-point line. And this is like when he was in the 8th grade before he even got to Millbrook.
Yes.
And
yes.
I said, who is this little kid? Because I thought, because he was so small, I thought he was like a 5th grader or, and he was an 8th grader. And then Carlton, his dad was like, yo, that's my young son. He gonna be here next year. So what I tell people what was special about Chris, he was that dog. He played through injury. He played through he was that dog. And a lot of people don't understand when he got the highest scoring in high school, a lot of people forget that he played JV. He could have been on varsity, but he played JV 9th grade.
Yeah.
So all his stats is only from 3 years, not from 4. And he could have been on varsity, but I think, just the way Millbrook played. And then, my son and Chris was the backcourt. My son was the point guard. Chris was a shooting guard. And, just to see what he would do, especially his junior year when he just started banging them, and going up on people. But I think Shaq said it also that the WNBA needs to lower the rim. Not necessarily to 9 feet, but at least 9.5, because if you think about the NBA, what has the NBA done? Anytime they try to, they move the 3-point line in closer at times for a couple seasons, and then they moved it back even farther to like 23 feet. They make adjustments to, for the fans. But when you ask the WNBA players, hey, y'all need to drop the rim 6 inches. Y'all need to do certain things. Oh, no, we not. Why you asking us because we women to drop it? The NBA did those changes.
And it's like, again, to my point earlier, though, but nobody wants to see it. Like, it was funny because my brother, he's anti-WNBA too. But he sent me this thing, and it was funny. It was a dunk contest where this girl was in, like, she was barely even He called it a powerful throw-in. Like it wasn't even considered a dunk. It was a powerful throw-in, right?
And
They
she
give her
won.
10. They give her 10s. A dude do a round the back 360. They giving him 7 and 8. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like the disparity is not fair. And y'all want the same treatment, but you're not playing by the same set of rules. Y'all have a smaller ball. Like you say, I wouldn't even be mad if they lowered the rim a little bit because it might help. It might help their games overall. You know what I mean? It might make it a little bit more exciting or whatever case may be. But stop always wanting equal rights. But
Yeah.
you want to grade it on your curve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we got to stop doing that. Yo, what's good? What's good, Ed?
And then you look at also like let's move into something else like the world of modeling.
Mm-hmm.
The top 10, I would say the top 20 paid models are women. Men aren't complaining about not making much as the women. You follow what I'm
But
saying?
we can't talk about that. We
No,
only
but
want to
that's
talk about
but you follow. Does that make
when there's a
like
double standard that they winning on.
men ain't claiming, oh, I want equal. I want to be able to make the same for Victoria's Secrets or Vogue or whoever. They just get in their grind and they do it. And they start to do other things. Like look what Tyrese did. You know, he was a model first, then he got into, singing. He did okay, and then he got into acting.
Yeah, Tyson
You know,
Beckford
like
too.
he had multiple jobs to make ends meet.
Marky Mark.
Oh, yeah. Ice Cube, I mean, he's written something now. He's written some of the, anybody can watch Friday once a week and it will still have the same impact as the first time they watched it.
Yeah, no
So
doubt
that's
about it.
the thing is like, don't sit here and complain just because you're making yourself look worse if you make it about your sex.
Yo, Hot, while you in the comments, man, how you feel about Aaron Rodgers? Y'all signing Aaron Rodgers, man. I'm laughing at Steelers fan, yo, because he another one that I don't like either. Boy, I can't stand no Aaron Rodgers. I hope he have a repeat of his season with the Jets. Don't make no sense to be getting all that kind of money. And to Cam's point earlier, like I said, I definitely ain't gonna be talking about the Cowboys all night. But the point I was making was one thing is Jerry not standing. Jerry usually come up off that money eventually in some shape, fashion, or form. But with Cam asked Mike earlier, who is the top paid quarterback in the league? You know what I'm saying? Who is it? Dak Prescott. Does Dak Prescott deserve to be the highest paid player in the league based off of quarterback play? Absolutely not.
How many
But if
Super Bowls have Dax won?
he hasn't even been the one.
That's what
So
I'm
he gonna
saying.
win? Man, get out of here, yo.
Oh,
See,
Eddie's
y'all
one of
still
them guys
y'all
look,
still fans be almost just as losing as them
look,
Cowboy
Eddie's
fans.
one of those guys that put in PTO this week for when the Cowboys go to the championship. That's them diehard Cowboy fans. They putting in PTO at the beginning of the season because
That's
Jerry
how.
done hyped them up. This
Yeah,
all year.
he is still a fan. That's how them Steelers fans be too. It's just
Oh,
that Steelers fans they go just as hard. They just not as arrogant and delusional as Cowboy. They a milder version. You know what I'm saying? I could tolerate them. It'd be like the Cowboy fans is what I learned this maybe 10 years ago. I was like, you know what? It really ain't actually the organization. It's the fans that make me hate the Cowboy fans. Like every year is y'all year. Every year is y'all year. And y'all haven't won in 30 years. I had a flat top the last time the Cowboys won. Uh,
I think
Hawk said Aaron
in
has a target
35
for us,
years.
the
In
crash out.
35 years, they only won the first round of the playoffs one time, I think.
Mm-hmm. But we gonna see how he do. I just don't want. I'm actually rooting against the Steelers this year. I really don't usually care about them. But I'm rooting against them because I can't stand Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely, I can't stand them. Um, I have to deal with the Ravens fans down here. Oh, I already know. I already know you in Raven Nation. He right in the midst of it. and y'all gonna see each other. I just need y'all. I need the Ravens. Like I said, my brother, he's diehard. He's a diehard KC fan. Always has been. He goes back to the what's his name, Dave Craig, when Dave Craig was the quarterback. You know what I mean? Derek Thomas, rest in peace. My brother is original Chief fan. Why I have no idea, but he loved the Chiefs. But I think their reign is over. They suffered long enough, and they don't want long enough. Nah, it ain't no hater show. Cause I started out with talking about how I'm a Giant fan, but I'm disappointed in the Giants. You know what I mean? As a team. Now I will say one thing about the Giants though, not just as a fan, but I do like the move that we made in this offseason, man. I think Rusty is I think Dabble is gonna. He's the type of coach that Rusty could shine with. I'll say that. And Malik Neighbors, I think, is going to be tremendous for his career to have somebody like Russell there. And like you said earlier, in this preseason, everything dark, he looked like he gonna be right.
And he threw for 290 yards that game.
Yo, he looked like he gonna be okay. Because he can run the ball. He got a nice strong arm. He's not overdoing things. He's not overcompensating. He let the game come to him. So we gonna see.
When was the last time a rookie QB, even in preseason, threw for almost 300 yards?
It's been a minute.
85% pass completion. Like, that's why I tell folks, like, I'm definitely a Dion fan. I'm definitely a Prime fan. But there's two things I tell people. Like, I thought he was going to be a 6th rounder, 6th or 7th. Because what you say?
Who you talking about, Shador?
Yeah. I thought he was going to be a 6th or 7th rounder because I'm not just looking at what they did on the field. I'm looking at who they did it against. And when you look at Dylan Gabriel, more than 80% of the season, he was the QB on the #1 ranked team in the country. And they played against Auburn. They played against the top 10 teams when Colorado didn't even win a bowl game. You retire. Like, I can understand you retiring Travis Hunter jersey because, he won the Heisman and he played both ways. But for Shador to retire, to me, that's the biggest insult to like Cordell Stewart and other people that was at Colorado when you were last place your first year coming in. Then the next year you just qualify for a bowl game and you lose that convincingly. And it's like they're like, well, he changed Colorado football. I'm like, no, Deion Sanders changed Colorado football.
And I was about to say, I would be for it if Shador had accomplished everything that he did without a Travis Hunter. Like, Travis came out. You don't remember the whole big thing where Nick Saban was pissed off because he had to commit it to Alabama. Then he changed his commitment from Alabama to Florida State. Then he said, I'm going wherever Deion at. You know what I'm saying? If Deion had announced it without announcing it the night before, he said, we got an announcement tomorrow that's going to shock the world. Watch what I tell you. And that's when Travis recommitted to go play at Jackson State. But we already knew what Travis was going to be. You know what I mean? He came out of high school and he lived up to the hype. He actually wound up winning the Heisman Trophy eventually. So we knew exactly what he's doing. If Shador had did everything that he did without that type caliber player, then I can kind of understand it. But to your point, like you say, Cordell Stewart, Eric Bieniemy, those teams back then, like, come on, man. This dude, he didn't even play his whole career. He only was there for 2 years.
Now, do you feel Hunter was justified in getting a Heisman?
Yeah, and here's why I say I would say yeah, and here's why. I think now I wouldn't have been mad if he hadn't got it, but here's why I think that he got unfortunately we do that most of us because all right, so it's just like who's the greatest rapper, who's the greatest center, position and all this here. We all be having different criteria, right? What Travis did, I literally have not seen anybody even come close to what Travis did until, except maybe Charles Woodson. And how long ago was that? That was like almost, what, 20 years? Because
But
Charles Woodson,
what conference did Charles Woodson play in?
he played. Yeah, I get what
It's
you're
easy
saying.
to play both ways. Like, for example, let's rewind it to high school.
Mhm.
My son played both ways every game.
Yeah.
The only time he came out the game was on kickoffs.
Mhm.
You know, it was high
And
school.
I get that argument, but
But
at the same
yeah,
time, for me, like with me, pound for pound, I think one of the greatest boxers of all time is Roy Jones.
mhm.
Now, the reason that I say that is because it's not Roy Jones' fault that he didn't grow up in the era with Roberto Duran, the Marvin Haglers, the Tommy Hearns. He only could fight who was at that age. You know what I mean? At that span. I can't say that because we don't know. I can't say that Travis still wouldn't have did all that he did if he had went to an Alabama or a Florida State and had the same opportunity. You know
well,
what I mean?
look at if he did, would he have been able? What conference do you think has the most NFL ready players? SEC,
SEC, yeah, by
Big
far.
Ten,
Yeah.
you know, ACC 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Hunter, for his size, he's not playing both ways in those three conferences. He's gonna get banged up because those guys are playing closer to NFL speed.
Mm-hmm.
When remember when he first went to Colorado, they was in the what was it, the Pac-12, the
Yeah.
offensive conference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where Oregon was at. And look what they ended up, you know. And then Dion had, you know, he said we got to change conferences. We got to go to a weaker conference, basically,
Mm-hmm.
so we can really make a mark. They
Yeah.
went to a weaker conference,
And
and guess
I
what
get that.
happened?
I
Because
have
remember,
nothing for that argument.
the wide receiver that Hunter was on when they played Oregon, that joker went for 147 yards off just 7 catches.
He did. But it don't change the fact that just for me, it doesn't change the fact that he was out there 90% of the plays, even in a weaker conference. Still hard to do on a college level and to be as effective as he was. You know what I mean?
It is, but look at his statistics as a wide receiver. He didn't break the top 7. Look at his statistics as a DB, secondary. He didn't break the top 8 in interceptions or pass deflections. Like he was out there, like he was picked second in the NFL draft.
But that's
But
see, all right. So that's to your point.
was he the second best wide receiver in this draft? No. Was he the second best DB in the draft? No. But he does offer the potential to play 2 positions.
And that's the point that I was getting to get
But
to.
when you
Not
look
even
at
not just that,
Jimmy, right? You look
but
at
it's
action.
almost like think about it like this, right? You talk about like an Aaron Glenn. I'm not Aaron Glenn. That's the coach for the Jets now. What was the old boy name? I was never really a big fan of him. Revis Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was Revis Island. I don't take nothing away from him. I get it. He was who he was. One thing about what you're saying is I don't agree with the assessment on Travis because even though he didn't have that much production as top 5 receiver, top 5 interceptions or whatever the case may be, the fact that he was on the field was impactful enough whether he got a catch or not. You know what I mean? He was a threat. That's the difference in me to me. Like he's a straight up football player.
Was he better than Jimmy Horn Jr.? I don't think so.
I think so. I think so. I think that and like you said, you can relate or you can understand because you're Sam's dad. It's hard to me. It's that much easier to be successful or to be that much dominant when you're focusing on just one position. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It takes a special type of player, not a great player, but it definitely takes a special type of player to be even average or above, slightly above average, not great, but slightly above average on both sides of the ball.
But we talking Heisman. Like Ashton who was the would you consider him the top 3 running backs in the country?
By far. And that's why I said I wouldn't have been mad if he had got it either. But personally, I just wasn't mad at Travis for not getting it.
And then who else was sitting there? Dillon Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
And people mad because he got picked up before Shedeur and he was a Heisman finalist. Mm-hmm. That's the delusion that I'm like,
they forget about that.
I said, this dude was a Heisman finalist, the number 1 ranked team in the country, playing all the powerhouses, and y'all saying Shedeur is better than this dude?
Nah.
So that's the delusion I think you was talking about, like MAGA folks. They just no matter what.
That's how some cats might as well say what it is. It's like our blackness. It's like that loyalty to blackness, and we got to root for Shedeur because that's Deion's son, and like I got to keep it real. Like I said the same thing in college. I thought it was a bad move when they went up there. So I get Deion is no fool, right? Deion knew that. Listen, for us to get where we eventually want to go to, we can't go straight to the SEC. We got to go from Jackson State to maybe a mid-major, you know what I mean? He strategically, he knew what he had to do because they would have ran Deion up out of there. They don't care how many celebrities out of there. If he had to went straight to the ACC, you know what I mean? If he had to went to Florida State instead of Colorado, it wouldn't have been the same. It would not have been the same. He would not have had the opportunity. He had to go somewhere where they need to be revived. Florida State ain't need to be revived, even though we ain't as dominant as we used to be. A school like Florida that ain't won it forever, they don't need to be revived. They have history on their side and like that. Deion had to go somewhere that needed to be. It's like you said, half the players that we just talked about in Colorado that should be in Colorado Hall of Fame, players that they don't even know who they are. The Cordell School.
Why do they have to go someplace? Normally it's because when they move up, they have to recruit better players, bigger players, faster players, stronger players. Remember, Deion did something that nobody else did. He changed out 88% of the team.
Yeah.
And almost all the guys he picked up was 3, 4, and 5-star players. Majority was 4 that he picked up. The guys came from Alabama. Guys was committed to Alabama, came to him. Guys that was committed to Notre Dame, Nebraska, Indiana, so Deion didn't have that hard start like a lot of coaches did. And the other thing that Deion did that, a lot of people didn't like, they said it was unethical, was because he basically cut players. Hey, you need to go ahead and enter the portal.
And it wasn't unethical because coaches, I ain't trying to make it a race thing, but white coaches do that all the time. And like even Michael Irvin was talking about that earlier. He was like, it's called a contract, but it's not really a contract because
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm talking about is when you go into your first meeting with your players, and the first thing that after you say your name and what you want them to address you as, the next thing that comes out your mouth is that I got my players coming. I got Louis packed.
I ain't mad at him. I'm not mad at him.
The thing is the tact. Another coach that did that was Chris Ash. He was the defensive coordinator for Ohio when they won the championship. Not the last championship, the one before that. He got the head coaching job at Rutgers. He came in there and told all the players at Rutgers, I didn't recruit you. All you guys suck. Like, you not. And you have players like, leaving because they're like, I'm not about to be a coach's experiment. But look what all them players did. They was dropping passes on purpose. They was doing all that. And guess what happened by year 2.5? He got fired because they're like, you're not about, that's this new generation. But I'm just
But at the
saying
same
that.
time, the difference in that though is Chris Ash is nowhere near on the level of a Deion Sanders. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
you
as far
gotta
as
remember.
resume, as far as being a player, but as far as coaching, Chris Ash has 2 championships under his belt.
Okay, but all right, so it's like
And he was
it's like that.
matter of fact, he had 2 more under Nick Saban when he was at Alabama. Like, he has a resume, but I'm not saying, to me, Deion was top tier. He's a recruiter. He's up front with them.
And that's my whole point.
But yeah,
I'm picking Colorado over Ohio State, Notre Dame every single time, just because even if I don't make it to the league, the experience alone is gonna be worth me being in that locker room. And if I got to grind it out, that's just my type of player. You gotta remember, I come from an era where everybody couldn't stand him. Man, I always it was 2 players that I said I wouldn't have mind. I would have loved to play college basketball for. Unfortunately, I wasn't good enough, but I would have loved to play for John Thompson, and the other one was Bobby Knight. Now people be like, man, who want to play with Bobby Knight? I don't care about all the yelling. I don't care about the throwing the chairs. I like what I get from that experience because those are the type of coaches that I like. You know what I mean? So just as Randy Moss is doing the pregame, that's not happening at Rutgers. You know what I mean? Just the access that you have is almost like you can't to have that much access to all these Hall of Famers, all these stars, and everything that Deion played. I would trade me personally. I'm just talking about for me. Me personally, I would trade all that in for a national championship. You know what I mean? At a better school, at a better organization, all that there, because money can't buy this experience. I'm gonna have these memories for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah, and another thing that Deion sold them was, look, almost all our games going to be televised because they want to see. And I understand that. When I said what he did as far as telling kids, hey, you got to go, I'm not even interested in you. That wasn't illegal. No. I'm not saying, because coaches have done it. It's just one of those things that, to me, when I look at any coach that go to a losing program, they was last place the year prior. They only won 1 game. They were still last place Deion first year, but at least they won 4 games.
Yeah, they only won 1 game the year before.
But Deion, at least I've never seen a coach go to a losing program and they bring that much 4 and 5 stars with them.
That's what I'm
like. Deion didn't start. He, like Drake said, he started from the bottom. Deion didn't have to start from the bottom when he came. When he came, that Louis, he had jokers loaded. But to me, you can have the best players, but you have to know how to coach them. And that's picking look how many times he switched up his defensive coaches, his offensive coaches.
But here's another factor too that you haven't mentioned, because I remember what you're saying, but some of it is inaccurate. A lot of those players were 2 and 3 stars too that Deion brought along. And one thing that he said when he was before he even took the Florida State job, not Florida State, I'm sorry, Jackson State. And I agreed with him, and I knew Deion gonna be all right because he has that same mentality as me, or I have the same mentality as him. I don't care how many stars you got. I want some dogs. So I don't care if you're a no name that nobody had heard of. If I see you and I know that you got that fire, I'm picking you every time over somebody with a 4-star, 5-star. Perfect example. You know what I mean? And I ain't, just to show that I ain't bogus, I say the same thing I told you earlier. I like UNC basketball when it comes to college basketball. I think we got too many star players. We ain't got enough dogs. I don't care about 4 or 5-star players and great students and all that there when it comes to sport like basketball. I want to see you get busy. I need some dough. I need that PJ Harrison. I need that, you know what I mean? That Jerry Stackhouse. I need that. I need those type players. I don't just care that you went to Oak Hill and, people are talking about Melo, and shout out, congratulations to Melo going in the Hall of Fame this weekend. He couldn't play defense. Melo was a dog.
Mm-hmm.
You hear what I'm telling you? He was a dog from high school to college to the pros. No matter where he was at, did he have the championships? No, but you knew you was in for a long night. Anytime you had to go up against Melo, you know what I'm saying? Those are type of players, and I think that because Dion was that type of player himself, he could identify. Okay, yeah, this dude, he ain't gonna be tripping. He gonna come in early. He gonna be, you know what I mean? He might need some captions on the bottom because he's from the bottom of Georgia, you know, the inner city of Georgia. I mean, Florida, but you know what I mean? I could work with that as opposed to going to get an Arch Manning or, you know, one of these top 10 players in the state of Texas and different things of that nature there. So I think that what happens too. And another point that you had made, I guess, because like I said, coaching Pop Warner, going through high school football, I have no problem with that simply for the fact that I've seen it happen all the time. What you're talking about as far as, look, as a new coach, all y'all getting up out of here. I'm bringing my coaching staff. I'm bringing my players. It happens all the time. It's just that this was so magnified because it was Dion and the spotlight was on him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But coaches do that all the time. I didn't recruit you, so you better go wherever that coach is doing. You go, you know, that recruited you, wherever he transferred to, that's where you need to be going. Because
Now,
I'm thinking that my own guys and my job is on the line, then I'm gonna use my personnel. You know what I mean?
yeah. Now, do you think did you see the interview that Tom Brady did? I think yesterday or the day before.
Nah.
So they talked to him because, you know, he's in the ownership of the Raiders now.
And I'm like, how does that work? Because I just see him doing a commercial where he's still supposed to be calling games for Fox. I thought that was a conflict of interest. I thought he was gonna have to give up the Fox job.
No, he's he's part of the ownership. I think it was on a podcast he was on. It wasn't like on.
No. What I'm saying is, I seen a commercial this weekend where they was promoting, you know, this upcoming week, like he's gonna still be doing play-by-play for Fox. I thought as an owner he couldn't do that. Or are they just making an exception to the rule for Tom Brady because he's Tom Brady? Or is that not a conflict of interest?
When you got that many, when you got that many,
you see what I'm saying? And I ain't got no problem with it. I'm just asking for clarity purposes. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he is on the owners group for the Raiders.
I know that.
He may not be. I mean, you think about it. Look at Cleveland Cavaliers. They have, I think, almost 300 owners for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the guy who owned Quicken Books and TurboTax, he's the majority owner. You know, just like Michael Jordan is the majority. He used to be the 100% owner of the Hornets. You know, when he bought it from Bob Johnson. Then he sold, like, I think it was like 18% to another group for like $1 billion. Then he just sold 49%. Like he's a minority owner, but he owns 49% still, and he got $6 billion for it. So Tom Brady, a lot of people, they buy into teams. Tom Brady can't.
You can't. You be a play-by-play guy. You can't be an announcer when you do that though. Like that was the same reason why when Magic.
Well, it depends. You see coaches, but you see coaches doing play-by-play after their season's done during the playoffs and all that.
Yeah, once the season is over, you can't be doing that during the season while your vested interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that's a little different from actual players, general managers, people that are active on the day-to-day versus an owner who they care less if he come into work or not. Tom Brady's just more visual because that joker got all them Super Bowls. But
no, I get what you're saying, but
he's not a day-to-day owner. He's not like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is not just the owner, he's the general manager. So he does things in his capacity as a GM, but then he does other interviews as an owner. I think you get a little bit more freedom, or not. I'm not going to say freedom. I think there's different standards or different rules from when you're actually day to day, like, player development or, a coach or a GM, just in operations.
Yeah. Now,
Brady,
that's what I'm saying. You saying that you think that what I'm telling you is that's not necessarily true. If you have a certain title, no matter how big or no matter how small it is,
Let me
depending
look
on
at
what
the
title you have,
CBA.
yeah,
Look at the
you
CBA,
cannot
the
do that.
last one.
Because Magic, I seen Magic talk about it. That's why he had to stop working for TNT and NBC because he had stake. He never was the owner of the Lakers, but because of the position that he has, he could not interact with that as far as being a play-by-play guy. He could do interviews and show up at games and do pre-games and whatnot, but you can't do that as a full-time job. Whether you work for working like for Monday night, call a Monday night football game. It's a conflict of interest.
Now, did you said Tom Brady during the season was doing play-by-play?
Yeah, he worked for Fox. He's the only player that came straight from the field to the booth. He got a. What do you mean? He got a tip.
What I'm asking you is like, who's the guy? Rob Pelinka, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Rob Pelinka was still the doing his stuff with LA, when their season was over, he was up there with on TNT with Shaq Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith. He was on there sitting right next to him.
Rob Pelinka.
Yeah, he's the one who
I've been an inside NBA fan.
He used to be
I've never
Kobe
seen him
Bryant's
on
agent, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Pelinka. I ain't him. He's sitting there doing it when they weren't making the playoffs and stuff. He would be up there on TNT with them. Now, I'm not saying he was a guest, just like how sometimes I had Lil Wayne on there, or they have.
And that's what I'm saying. Tom Brady is not a guest. Tom Brady calls the 4 p.m. game on Fox every week.
Okay.
Soon as he went to the booth, Tom Brady, the day after he retired and said that he was going to the booth, he signed a 10-year, $375 million contract to do play-by-play with Fox.
Okay.
I was like, I didn't think that he was going. I wanted to see how he could do it. He actually calls a pretty good game. But if you are a part owner, you are not supposed. It's a conflict of interest, you can't call no Raider games and not be unbiased. That's one of the reasons that Troy Aikman didn't take any stake in the Cowboys because he was so locked in with Joe Buck that it would have been a conflict of interest. He would have had to stop working for, you know what I mean, working for the network if he had to took that position in that organization.
Well,
even if he wasn't day to day and all that.
I think we just went on. This was my thing about Tom Brady. What I saw him, it wasn't on Fox. It was on a podcast. I said that, right?
Yeah. You did.
And that's what I was asking you about, not on Fox. I thought I said podcast.
No, you did, but what I was asking you was, I wasn't saying that it's one and the same. I was asking you, how is it that he going to still be able to call? Because I seen a commercial saying that the season is back, but it's Tom Brady starring in this commercial. Like he's going to still
I don't know.
play-by-play.
I just know about the podcast, and I was going to ask you about why Tom's basically what they asked them, what determination and how do the Raiders, do their draft picks, and what are you guys looking for? And Tom Brady said, well, what we're looking for is someone that as a leader on the team, no matter what your position is, we don't want you celebrating by yourself. And he literally said, holding up watches, throwing punches all by yourself. He's like, every time my team scored, I told my offensive line, we all got to run down to the goal line because we score as a team. We do all these things. So people was trying to say that's why the Raiders didn't pick up Shador, because he didn't celebrate with the team. He would just do his wrist. And people was trying to say that Tom Brady was saying that, that was one of the reasons why the Raiders didn't draft Shador, because that's not what they look at in their players. They want somebody that's more team oriented. And that's what I think. If Tom Brady saw that, I think a lot of other NFL teams saw that.
No, you actually, you right. My apologies too, because I never let you ask the question. As soon as you mentioned Tom Brady, I was asking about that because when you said it, I was thinking about the commercial that I seen. But yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
never
don't
got
know
a chance to
about
ask me the question.
it.
But
Was
I
to
just
be
looked it up, right? So it says
yeah,
right
it was
here.
my first. Hold on, it was my first time seeing Tom Brady in like 8 months because I don't look at a whole lot of TV,
Mhm.
so it was like my first time, and
Oh
I
yeah,
know.
like that time don't do like the most of the time. He don't do like the podcast or this different
Yeah,
show or
that's why it was rare,
sit
but
down with Reese Tyson. Yeah.
because people think he talking about Shador, it's
Mhm.
gonna be shown on YouTube. It's gonna
Yeah.
be like just like how Cat Williams did for Shannon Sharp,
Yeah.
probably the most viewed podcast. But
Mhm.
when Tom Brady do your podcast, guess what? If
We're gonna
we
watch. Let's see what he's talking
if I
about.
send this to Tom real quick out in
Yeah.
LA and you send him the link, guess what? Whatever's watching right now is gonna jump up about two, three
Hurry.
hundred thousand viewers.
Just like that, just to see what he's saying.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
of what he's done. Like just like if it was Kobe Bryant or
Yeah.
even LeBron. But I think now when we got into it, when we was talking about the NBA owners, I don't know, there's two different sports, and the NBA owners, it said they are able to, as far as it says yes, a NBA owner can do play by play if their team's not involved. But then, it says no, the NFL owner cannot do play by play for NFL games. I
Mhm.
didn't know Tom Brady was still doing that. I thought that was something he scratched.
No.
And because I haven't seen, well, I don't really watch
But that
Fox too
that's
much.
that's normally how it is. But when I looked up, it says I asked, can Tom Brady um commentate? Yeah, and it says yes, Tom Brady can commentate Las Vegas Raider games for Fox Sports, despite being a minority owner of the team, as the NFL has approved this special arrangement under specific restrictions. While he is initially banned from attending production meetings and team practices in his first season, reported in August, yada yada yada. So what it is, that was my whole question. So that's the answer. Is yes. Like, did they make a special
They
exception
made an
for Tom
exception.
Brady because he's Tom Brady? And yes, that's the answer to the question. Yeah, I just wasn't sure because I knew you're not supposed to be able to do that.
Well, see, I don't think he was talking about the Raiders. I think the guy was asking him questions.
No. The podcast ain't got nothing to do with that. He can do whatever he
Yeah,
wants to as far as podcast. I
yeah,
just
I
when
haven't.
you mentioned his name, it just made me
Yeah,
think about the football season, the commercial that I seen over the weekend, announcing that the NFL was, this week here is the start of the
yeah,
new season, and Tom Brady with Fox Sports. I'm like, hold up, now that he's not supposed to be able to do that. when
yeah.
you said when you mentioned his name, it made me think of that, even though it had nothing to do with the podcast or what he was saying on there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. But I just think that's why I think the Browns held on to Shador on the 53-man roster
And
is
I
because
think they held on to him too because not to cut you off. Go ahead.
just because he may bring they may have empty stands like the Carolina Panthers games the last few years.
Yeah.
They need somebody there because Jordan used to do that with the Charlotte Hornets. Well, when they turned into the Bobcats, who did Jordan have them draft? Sean May, the UNC kids,
That's
the
why he
Duke
was. That's
kid.
why he was. That's why he sucked as owner.
Oh yeah, but
All it was a professional team for all the North Carolina college players that couldn't make it. He was
he
getting
was
players from
trying to sell
Carolina,
tickets.
Duke, NC State.
Yeah, he was trying to sell tickets.
Yeah.
And I think Shador is going to sell tickets because they're going to watch Shador, and then the next person they're going to is his father to see his reaction to whatever happened.
That's what I'm saying. They lucked up on gold. It has all I was saying was that it has nothing at all to do with football why they keeping him on the roster. Shador has the number one selling jersey in the NFL right now, and we might not ever even see him play.
Before he threw a pass.
You know what I mean? So, like I think that football wise, they didn't necessarily want to keep him but we can't give an answer, or we don't. They don't want to. In my opinion, they didn't want to deal with the backlash of making a football decision and cutting them. Like, because there's no way we're gonna be able to explain cutting this dude that has the #1 selling jersey in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it has never even touched the field yet. We
Now,
cannot
do you think he was drafted at the right spot?
Me personally, I think so. I think so. Because like I said, I don't even think that he still hasn't proven to me that he's an NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I was definitely not mad at the spot that he was drafted at, because this is the way I look at it. I almost wish he had to went top 10 or the first round like everybody wanted to, because then him stinking it up, so to speak, or him being exposed, let's put it that way. I ain't gonna say he would have stunk it up, but him being exposed would have been that much more magnified. And then us, we gonna be like, well, everybody got bad breaks and all that things. Like, he's not a top tier quarterback. I don't care if he's black. I don't care if he's brown. I don't care what he is. He's not a top tier quarterback.
Now, you remember back to Tim Tebow, right? Tim Tebow won national championship, right?
Yeah.
He won Heisman, right?
Yep.
Conference player of the year, all those things. Now, when he got drafted by Denver, I think he was a top 10, right? It was like 5 or 6, maybe.
Yeah, he was up there.
So this is the thing. When I'm hearing people say about Tim Tebow, oh, he's not no NFL quarterback. He's not no NFL quarterback. And I told people, we'll wait and see, because you can't say he didn't win in college.
But I said it. I'm glad you brought him up, because I said it back then too. I didn't think I was one of those ones. I didn't think that Tim Tebow was an NFL quarterback. I think
he won the Heisman once or twice.
No, I think he just won one. I think what's his name is still the only one that won it twice. What's his name? Archie. Back in the day. Is it Archie Griffin? I think he's the only one to win it twice.
So this is the thing. So Tim Tebow was on the bench, right? And I remember the Dolphins Denver was 0-5. And they benched the starter and they put Tim Tebow in. They won 8 games straight.
Yeah, Archie Griffin, he the only one to have to.
They won 8 games straight. So they ended the regular season at 8-5.
Now, who is this?
When Tim Tebow was riding the bench at Denver, his rookie year, they went 0-5. And then they benched the starting QB and they put Tim Tebow in. Tim Tebow won the next 8 games. Like, some of it was ugly. Like, and a lot of times defense won. But at the end of the day, they won. They were 8-5 and they made it to the playoffs. They released him. And it's like, I'm like, well, how many quarterbacks have won 8 games straight and they get waived or they get dropped? Like, I thought the goal.
I just didn't think that he was that good. Like I said, he was to me, Tim Tebow was a hell of a football player. I don't think that he was an NFL caliber quarterback though, because and I said it then, because like I said, I'm inside the numbers and stuff. I thought it was mad disrespectful. I'm gonna tell you when I stopped liking Tim Tebow. When everybody was on the Tim Tebow train, and oh my God, he's gonna be this, he's gonna be this here. Yo, you're a quarterback that's playing in the SEC. We talked about how dominant the SEC is earlier. Tim Tebow had more rushing touchdowns than Bo Jackson, Emmitt Smith, all the top tier running backs in the SEC by his sophomore year. So, you're a quarterback by title, but half of your touchdowns coming from rushing, bro. Like, 1 yard rushes, you know what I mean? Like, I don't just get caught up in. I measure from all aspects of it: the eye test, what the numbers say, what type of game situations are you scoring in. If you're a quarterback, I need how many 250. You ain't even got to go for 300. How many 250-yard passing games that you have? Or do you have a whole bunch of 125 to 150 passing game with 100, 150 yards rushing. That's not going to equate when it comes to look. Vince Young was a perfect example of that. It don't always matriculate on that next level. Now I do believe that Vince Young was a decent NFL quarterback, but it don't always work out. You go back even farther. Look at Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf was the number one pick. That mug crashed out in his first 2 years. You know what I mean? So everybody's not built to handle that pressure. Yeah. That's one thing about that you can say that I can say about Shedeur. Shedeur is built to handle that type of pressure because he's lived in that type of pressure his whole entire life. All he knows is pressure and spotlight. You know what I mean? So he's not going to fold. That's how. But at the same token, just skill wise, are you deserving of that? I would have to say no, in my opinion. But I'm not mad at.
I think his draft. Yeah, I think his draft stock dropped when he made the mistake of posting the videos. He let his brother, record everything, and his oldest brother does his thing with that video. And I think he made a mistake when he posted the video of Shedeur working with Cam. When he showed him working with Cam, you saw how you saw them bullets that Cam was throwing. You saw how he was moving. And then he posted the part where Shedeur was like, okay, man, you want to go make a record real quick? And Cam was like, no.
Man, he's like, my job is football. Yeah.
He's like, my job, I'm about football. He's like, you can have that rap stuff. I think that also reduced his draft stock because Tom Brady and Shedeur even said on one of those videos his brother released that Tom Brady called him and cussed him out, said, dude, you need to stop focusing on Rolls Royces and Bentleys and focus on film in the game.
Because Tom Brady was working with
him.
Went back when he was at Jackson State before he even got to college football.
I mean, Deion gave his boys all the tools. Like they worked with the top people. And to me, I think that was they were as good as they were because he was able to get them around good people that not only played in the league, but they are proven champions, like multiple Super Bowls, all of them. And then, him being the father, like I think he more helped Shiloh because, Deion's initial start was defense, and that's why I think what made Shiloh, like if I have to pick for one of them being in the league, I actually like Shiloh better.
Me too. All day, every day.
Because I think he shows like Shedeur is mature, but Shiloh is a different mature.
And not to say that he's not mature. The difference, these are two different things. And before I get to that, all right, so you mentioned like the video. That could definitely well be a factor. I think bigger than anything else that would hurt Shedeur stock draft was the fact that he's Deion's son and the way Deion handled it. For Deion to be doing on the whole press tour, and I love me some Deion, but for him to be going on a whole press tour leading up to the draft, going on all these shows talking about, well, we know what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? If certain teams draft my son, he still got eligibility. Mm-hmm. You know how the NFL is. Oh, you think you bigger than the Shield? Absolutely not. I don't care how many people you bring. I don't care how many fans you bring, how many jerseys you sell. At the end of the day, we gonna put you back in your place, boy. You know what I mean? Like Deion, I think that hurt him more than anything else. For Deion to be going out there talking about certain teams ain't gonna be drafted. No, we ain't going here. How you gonna tell the NFL? You know what I mean? Dude, let's get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. And I hate when people always do that because they like to bring the race in. You wasn't saying that when Eli Pops did it. You wasn't saying it when John Elway did it. Yeah, you know why? Because Shedeur ain't in the same conversation with Eli, man.
All the champions
when it comes to quarterback.
Yeah, and this is the other thing I think that hurt Shedeur. Prior to the draft, he had 2 speeding tickets where he was going over 100. Almost like 150 and 165. And then after he got to training camp, he got 2 more tickets going on. One was 90 and another one was 100.
Yeah.
So they're
Miles, I seen a video with Miles Garrett teasing about it, like, yo, man, yo, you gotta chill out. Because he was talking about how he had a ticket.
Teams are looking at that, you know, because that's a part of leadership, you know, showing that you know everybody's speed just about. But when you go and you get caught multiple times going 100, you know, that's right there. I think it's a lot of things that went into that, but at the end, you know, at the end of the day, I hope they all do well because you know I know what Deion put into his boys. Like, and I'm not talking about the money. You know, like when they played the video and he was
Deion
like,
is an exceptional father.
Yeah, when he says, "Y'all want to know how good I was in my career?" And then they're like, "Oh," because his son was saying, "I ain't never seen no film of you running no 4.29," and he was like, "You know how? You know the proof that I ran a 4.29?" And he was like, "What?" He was like, "Look around. Look at this house. Look at all, you know."
Yeah, Deion always been that way. But to your point earlier too, and I posted a couple of the clips a while ago, a couple weeks ago, but I actually watched because I didn't even know. I forgot what it was, Bravo or one of them. They came on one of them shows that channels I don't watch. But I remember watching the Deion and them show when they was kids. They was like kids, little kids. Now watch them then. Shador, outside of football, in my opinion, Shador still shows and acts like you can tell that he's the baby of the family. He's a spoiled brat, you know what I mean? Like you said to your point, even with the Cam. That's why I agree with you to a certain extent that they kind of help him. Like, hey, come on, man, let's go make a record. And then why you always hating on me? Like, you could tell he the baby. Where you would never see Shiloh like, what? Oh, you think you can get busy? Him with Antonio Brown. And Antonio Brown but he gonna show up for the challenge. Whereas Shador, he just want. I won't say he don't get it twisted. He's a hard worker. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. He's a hard worker, but at the same time, he wants he wants the praise given to him without it being earned, so to speak. Because
you got to think he got that kind of like started the snowball when his number got retired.
Exactly.
That right there, literally.
Absolutely not.
And then the draft, you think about, they say he spent $250,000 on the draft party.
Yeah.
He had a chain made, a $1.5 million chain made just for the draft.
And all these teams know that. They looking at all of this.
That's where everybody said, okay, he mature. That's when the immaturity comes, because at the end of the day, his dad dominated the ACC when the ACC was almost equal to the SEC. You know, his dad dominated in that. So when we saw Deion with the Jerry curl, the neon glasses and all the gold, he had backed it up all on the field by winning national championships, by winning Defensive Player of the Year, you know, first team all conference every year of college.
Yeah, and see that was another difference too with Deion, because you gotta remember now, if you go back and look it up, he mentioned that they was almost as equal. That's not true. At the time when Deion played for us, we were still independent. We hadn't joined the ACC yet. That's why Florida State was so dominant like it was, because we played the Notre Dame. We was like Notre Dame. We was independent. We just playing the big dogs. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. He did all that against the top school.
Top level. Exactly. That's
so he has a track record. He justified getting that wet Jerry curl, you know, those glasses and all that. He earned it. Like, his play proved that. Not just on the football field, but the baseball field too.
Yeah. That's what I was. That's the point that I was making. Shador wants that same type treatment where you don't you haven't shown that same type of capability. That's all I was saying. Like you're not the same caliber player as your father. You're not the same type caliber quarterback as Cam, because Cam willing to guard the mud and get it. Like Lamar Jackson. He one of them Florida boys too. He from down there in the trenches. Hey, Liberty City. He ain't no polished kid. Let's put it that way. He ain't from Ravenscroft. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He from Southeast. So, and I think it's going to matriculate. But I'm hoping he has a good opportunity. I hope he takes advantage of his opportunity. I think that Travis is going to do what Travis do. And here's the only reason I say that. I remember their first preseason game tuning in just to see what he was going to do. This mug had like very, very average, but this mug did not play in the second half.
Now,
Like,
who was that?
Travis Hunter.
Now,
So
do you think he's playing this week?
Oh yeah,
because he's been hurt.
I think he'll be out there.
And that's what I'm afraid of Travis Hunter, because he wants to, play both sides the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
But all these teams are like, okay, if they try to do that, we putting our top 3 wide receivers on him at defense.
Yeah, he's definitely. I put it like this: if you're a smart coach or a smart organization, I'm gonna give him the opportunity to play both. But ain't no way in the world you're gonna be playing 90% of the snaps on offense and defense. It's just not happening in the NFL. You know what I mean? You might get in on defense as a third down here. You primarily a receiver, so you're gonna get at least 2 plays per series. You know what I mean? You might get one on the defensive side of the ball, but you're not going to be consistently playing offense and defense. No, I definitely don't see that. And to your point earlier, and you just mentioned it a little while ago too. Me personally, I thought he was undersized too. I thought his size was going to hurt him until I seen a picture with him and Chad Johnson together. I'm like, yo, this dude is a lot bigger than what I thought he was.
Hold on, but Chad Johnson now.
Yeah, but still,
Chad Johnson now. No, but Chad Johnson now, well, it's the frame. Chad Johnson now is about 18 pounds lighter than what he was during the season. Like during his playing days.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is he ain't no Steve Smith. He ain't no, you know what I mean, the receivers from our day. Like, put it like this: for me, he's not as small as I thought he was. Based on how he's height. Playing exactly, yeah. Now
he got height, those long arms. Weight,
you know what I mean?
But he can't take, when you play both sides, you think about what he does. He's in film for secondary. He's in film with the wide receiver. So he's learning all those things. And yeah, he may be able to take it in because that's his passion for football. He loves football and fishing.
He's a football player through and through, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that's the issue of him taking it in. I think it's going to be like one of those things like when we watched that the Ali movie and he was boxing George Foreman. And he's like, in his mind, he's wanting to fly, but he's like, talking to himself. You hear the movie of him talking, saying, "Man, legs, what's wrong with you? I know you can move faster." Yeah. I think he got exposed a little in the preseason on those missed tackles and
yeah.
And that was just preseason, and you're not even playing most of the starters.
But that's gonna come. That's gonna come. And the only reason I say that,
remember, the regular season is full speed. It ain't preseason where people just trying to, man, let me just make sure I made this 53-man roster.
Yeah. But I think overall he's going to be all right. You know what I mean? The film wasn't looking good in the preseason. And the reason I say that is like even with our boy, what's his name, Abdul Carter. Like that dude, like he been here before. Like, I'm not even saying it because he was the Giants. He look like he been here before. But everybody been talking about the play that he got blown up by the Jets. Like, I mean, they made him look like he was a 5th grader. Dude put him on his behind instantaneously.
Mhm.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Literally on his behind, and everybody was asking about it after the pregame. And here's the difference why I like what he did. He said, he's like, hey, you know what? You know, they got me. He got the best of me, but that's probably the only highlight that you're gonna see from the Jets all year. Like,
Yeah.
he, you know, it's the way he handled it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
With if something like that happened to Shador, why everybody picking on me? Why y'all gonna hate? The haters gonna hate, and like, yo, stop with the whole sympathy and just go out there and do what you're supposed to do. Shut the haters up. You know how you do that? By performing. When given the
And
opportunity, you go out there and perform.
and that's why Shiloh, I give so many props to Shiloh, because like even when they got to the third round, the fourth round, and Shiloh was like, man, I can
I
only
know I
think of
ain't
how
going.
I can only think of how they're gonna do me. Look how they doing you. Like
Uh-huh.
he's able to like lift everybody up,
Mm-hmm.
because Shador, he could say, oh yeah, I'm not thinking about it. Dude, you thinking about
You
it.
definitely thinking
You
about it.
human.
It's bothering you, yeah.
You
But when
know,
Shiloh said it ain't bothering him, he means it. Shiloh, like you said though, Shiloh's a different beast. I was saying
yeah.
that earlier. I think you said he was in the
Because
comments.
then
But
Pittsburgh just signed to pick him up.
I didn't see where he still got signed yet. Last week I had seen the day after they had Tampa Bay had released him. I seen about a possibility with the Eagles possibly picking him up. But I didn't see anything about him being with the that him actually getting signed yet. Anything official anyway.
Okay.
I don't even like to click on those articles with the potential and all that. No, holler at me when it's official. But he's officially not on the roster yet. I know what's the name claims his rights though. The team up there in the CFL.
Well, they put him on. I think the way the CFL, they put him on a list.
Yeah, they claim all waivers, but they could do the same thing with I forgot who they said it was somebody
They
big.
did the same thing with Shador. Shador's on
Yeah,
their list.
and what's the name? They were like technically they could claim it wasn't Patrick Mahomes. If they would to their point though, they were saying they pretty much could add anybody name to this list. It doesn't mean that they gonna forego the NFL to go play in Canada either though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think either way Shiloh will be all right. And I think, like I said, I think he would be a great addition to somebody's practice squad at the very minimum, for the simple
Yeah.
fact like he's going to help your receivers get ready for Sunday. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even if he's not in the game, I think he's good for that. I don't know how good Shador. I don't know how much he's going to be able to help a team.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
And like I said, a lot of that doesn't have just to do with skill. That's a mentality thing too. You know what I mean? Shiloh is that dude. Like he's a straight. I wouldn't mind seeing Shiloh with his own TV show. Like
Yeah, I think
I
he could
love
do.
seeing
Yeah.
him when he does the Dion impersonations. I seen one where I posted one where he's working at a KFC down there during the preseason in Florida.
Mhm.
And told the one lady, he said, "Yeah, you know, I'm Deion Sanders. I'm prime time." The lady, "Oh my God, it's you!" She don't even know that it ain't D. Yo, Shiloh is hilarious though, man. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's all I really had, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. Uh, so what's your early predictions before the season even gets started? Who you got in the Super Bowl,
Oh, the
man?
Lions. The only thing that's going to prevent them is the injuries. I
Okay.
think that's what happened. To me, that's what happened last year, and that's the one time I thought the coach really made a mistake, because remember last year they were down 17 players on the injury list, like that was
Mhm.
out for injury. So you had your second and third, but they had their timing. They was winning games, and then soon as they get there to the playoffs, all the starters come back, and you can see all the missed tackles, all the misreads on defense. And I think that was the one mistake that they made. But to me, the only thing that can stop Detroit from winning it this year is injuries, and that's part of the game. But yeah, Detroit, they, when that daughter took over, because they just wanted her to be in charge of Michelin, Ford Michelin, and they were like, she was like, I don't want to just be an owner. I want us to have a championship.
Yeah, I got a female owner.
Yeah, the daughter took over.
Okay.
Yeah, because she was over. That's why when you buy a Ford, they always got Michelin tires because she married a Michelin. Like, they're family. Like she was over that part.
Yeah,
But
and I
yeah,
always tell people that's a little known fact, a little unknown fact that people never believe, seem to never know. But I always tell them, say that's one reason I always give them a hard time. The Steelers a hard time, but we actually really don't want it all. Like the Steelers, the Rooneys and the Maras, they married to each other. That's why the actress name from the girl with the dragon tattoo name is Rooney Mara, because those two families are married together. So can you imagine how much money they would make if the Giants and the Steelers ever actually went to the Super Bowl together? Like,
yeah.
it's all in the same family. It's the same pot. You know what I mean? So that would be special, man. But so who you got coming out the AFC?
It's hard to tell right now. The way I'm looking at it is like I'm comparing it to the NBA. Like, you knew the Bulls was coming out the East. And that's how I feel like the Lions is coming out. They're gonna represent in Super Bowl. On the other side, to me, it's so many teams that it depends on that X factor. Like Green Bay, like, to me, they're not on nobody's radar. But if Micah Parsons back isn't an issue, I think just adding him, edge on the edge, like that alone can make a huge difference. So I think it's just so many dynamics now, but I hate blowouts. I'll put it that way. I can't stand blowouts. I like games when it's 2 minutes on the clock, you still don't know who's gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I'm hoping to see. I think the NBA has done that because I think the last 5 years has been 5 different champions, right?
Yeah.
Like this, and I think the NFL is trying to use that same model. But
Denver had a chance to do the back to back, but they missed a year in between.
Who did that?
Denver.
Okay, yeah.
But all right, so with me,
what about you?
I was about to say with me, all jokes aside, I would probably say I got, man, maybe Philly coming back out. I'm not as confident as Philly though, because I think Philly lost a lot of leadership. They lost a lot of leadership in this offseason. I think that's they're gonna be affected by that. I won't be mad if y'all there. I won't be mad if Detroit is there. I'm not sold yet. Of course we got to see how things play out, but I like Detroit. Detroit is an understatement. It ain't even fair to say that y'all long overdue. That's an understatement of the century. But I wouldn't be mad at them. Now, here's what I will say. I know people think I'm being joking, but I'm serious. If the Giants can make a wild card, and it's not a fan talking. This is not a fan talking. This is a football person. If the Giants can make at least a wild card, you better watch out. We got a shot in the dark. And the reason that I say that is because we have by far the toughest schedule out of all teams in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Like, we got the toughest schedule, so we can make a wild card. To me, I think it's different when you look at, like, for years, let's see, like the Steelers. It was a given that they was going to come out of their conference. They was going to win their conference. Here it is, different things. When you're playing, when you have a schedule that, I think this is the year that we played the NFC North. So we gotta play all of them cats. We gotta play all of them. When you playing at a high level team all year long, and you could just build if you make that wild card, I like your chances when you let's say Kansas City, you got Buffalo, you got Baltimore, then you playing the Cleveland or you know what I mean, the up and down. I would like our chances. I think we stand a chance if we could come out the gate and, like I said, make a wild card.
Well, let me ask you this: how long do you think it's going to take for you think it'll take before Dart is starting?
It's too early to tell to me. Me personally, I'm sitting them all year. You know what I mean? I'm giving Russell.
Now, who's he playing behind?
Russell Wilson.
You think Russ is in shape?
I think Russ is going to be all right. For the simple fact that, again, it's not necessarily who Russell is as a player. It's the way that Dabble utilizes him. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think Russ is going to take as many hits as he's accustomed to taking. He's not going to have to sit in the pocket as long as he needs. You know what I mean? I think we're going to be content with the little 7-yard crosses. You know what I mean? Here and there. We don't need the 60-yard bombs here and there, throughout the game. I think Russ is going to show that at this age, I'm still in the league for this long because I know how to manage a game. And that's how Dabble is going to use it. One thing I do like about Dabble is, and I say this all the time, no matter what sport it is, the difference between good coaches and the difference between great coaches is every coach has a philosophy. Now, what determines good versus great, in my opinion, is how do you adjust based off of the personnel that you have to run a system. Because just because you have a system and this is the way that you want to do things, you know what I mean? Whether it be the triangle, whether it be the West Coast offense in football, if you don't have that personnel to run that system, great coaches say, you know what? Okay, this is my system and this is what I like to run, but I don't have the personnel, so I'm going to play to the strengths of the players that I have. I think Dabble is well at that. And I think Dart is going to be ready once he gets his opportunity, but I go back to that season, Eli's rookie season. And I still don't understand it, still be bad about it to this day. We were 5-1. We were tied for the best record in the NFL when they said they benched Kurt Warner to bring in Eli. Eli came in and lost the next 7 games in a row. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because, oh my God, we can't justify having Eli Manning sit on the bench. Dude, don't nobody want to throw their rookie to me personally. I don't think nobody want to throw their rookie. You shouldn't want to throw your rookie to the wolves, so to speak. Especially when you got a quarterback. It's one thing if we had been 1-5 with a Kurt Warner, but when you 5-1, it doesn't make sense.
Did Tom Brady get thrown as a rookie?
The difference is Tom Brady got his opportunity because of injury.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. The thing, he was behind Bledsoe. Bledsoe was in the hospital or whatever. Yeah, and Brady won the championship.
But that was like week 11. Like, what's the name was in the? Drew Bledsoe was in the in the MVP conversation before he got hurt.
Yeah, but he was. But the thing is like when Bledsoe came back, he came back before the end of the season, and Belichick kept him on the bench
because that's how it is in football, right? Yeah. Like, is it fair? I'm not saying that it's fair. I'm not saying that it's unfair.
Well, if you win it, you don't want to break it.
And see, that's the thing in professional sports. You got to ride that momentum wave. You know what I mean? We already know what you're capable of, but right now we might not want to break this chemistry, which proves my point even more. Why it was absolutely absurd and stupid for us to bench Kurt Warner, a 5-1 former MVP, to bring in this rookie. You see what I'm saying? And it killed the rest of our season. Like, y'all worried about because we paying Eli money, all this money, and that was the whole thing in New York. Because I remember it. Like, okay, we paying this dude too much money to be sitting on the bench for him not to be playing. That shouldn't matter.
It does. I mean? I know some players. you know, in
That's what I'm
the
saying.
league, and because the contracts, that money, ownership wants to see the money out there on the field.
Exactly.
You
And I
know,
get that, but it goes contrary to everything that we say as
yeah.
purists. Because if we're winning, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
And that's why I think Detroit put in all those starters, those 12 starters came off the last game off injured
Mm-hmm.
reserve, and they put them in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't played a game in 3-4 weeks, you know, a month, and now you thrown into a game that it's either you win or go home.
It's not
But
fair. It's not fair to the players, but that's the way a lot of them do.
I think I don't think Russ. I think going to the Giants. I think he's like 1 or 2 years away from retirement. Like
I believe that, and that's all we need him for.
and I think they basically wanted him because I think the Giants Dart was on their board from what you know.
No, he was. He was always on the board.
And to me,
Him and Shador both, to be honest with you.
yeah, but I don't think to me Shador can't from what I watched in college of Dart. I
No,
watched
I'm not saying that he deserved to be there. What I'm saying is we were doing it for all the same reasons that Cleveland went ahead and took him. You know what I mean?
and I
because,
just look at Dart's you know, just his speed. Like, you know, you can't have a name Dart and not be fast.
He can run.
But Shador,
and he got heart
just
too.
move like his back hurt like mine.
Yeah, he got to hurt. See, and that's the thing with Russ. We know that's a temporary fix. Like we ain't need no save. We don't need no savior. And the only reason, like I said, the only reason that they was looking at Shador was for the simple fact of one, what he brings to the table as far as jersey sales and the hype, getting the light shine back on us in New York as an organization, and two, we still like I said, people that not even Giant fans feel some type of way about these fools letting Saquon Barkley go. So they try to do anything to take the attention off of that. Because that you got to think about it. That was only a year removed, but that was like one of the stories. Like it feel like they happened centuries ago. That was literally last season, and everybody's still talking about it like it's fresh news. Like, it's gonna be one of those things. Man, you remember when the Giants let that stupid David Jones he let Saquon Barkley go? Like that's gonna be one of those conversations forever. So they trying to deflect off of that. But
I think the Giants, I think they're like one of the. I think for the draft in the offseason, I think they're like probably in the top 5 of all teams as far as how well they did. As far as like getting their roster together.
Our grade is good because I was so hurt because he was literally killing in the preseason. But the cornerback that we got number 30, and I hope he gets well soon. But he was out there dominating on the defensive side of the ball. That was the kid that we got from the Saints. The kid that we got from the Saints is still there, but the rookie that we had, number 30, I can't think of his name right now. But he had the hyper extension in that last game against the Patriots. He was looking like, oh man, we got a secondary because we definitely got arguably one of the best front line in football on the defensive side. Like Dexter and them, and then adding this Abdul Carter. Like I said, I can't wait to see him play. I can't wait to see him in action because everything I seen in the preseason, and my brother's a Penn State fan in college college football. He was like, man, I hate that he hate that he go to y'all. So he was already telling me about it because I didn't really know about his college career. But when I seen just in the few preseason games, and then I'll be watching like MSG and I was watching a lot of the different practice sessions and stuff. To see like that dude, man, you can't tell me that he's a rookie. If you didn't know he was a rookie, he's definitely not playing like a rookie. So I can't wait to see him get out there. Yeah, and he's lightning fast. Look,
that he has that speed. Like a lot of people didn't know. Remember Carlos Boozer?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't realize he was like 260.
Yeah.
Running the floor.
He was, as much as I hate giving them the school and doing them they props. He was one of those ones. Him and Shane Battier.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They might have not been like all-star, but they were solid all-around basketball players. You know what I mean?
Well,
If
didn't
you take,
Shane Battier help win the championship
yeah,
in
that's what
Miami?
I'm saying. They big contributors. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying earlier about how like with there's a difference. There's a different level of player when I was talking about like Travis and all that did. I'm not saying that Travis is going to show, well, see, now we seeing the height, why this dude won the Heisman. I'm not saying that. But certain players, it's like my cousin used to tell me outside of football, just in life, period. There's a difference between commanding respect and demanding respect. You know what I mean? Some people just command attention. I think if anything else, that's to prove everybody wrong. That's rule for Travis. That's why the target is going to be on his back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going to really get to see if Travis Hunter is everything that they was predicting him to be coming out of high school. Is he really that dude? You know what I mean? Like we said
And I
earlier.
just hope his off the field, things that may happen off the field don't affect the field. And I think that's what like Dion and a lot of people, because Hunter is one of those players that everybody wants him to shine. Like he's that good of a young man. Like he loves football. He enjoys it. And I remember when they introduced him at Jacksonville, they had the helmet on the table. And he was like, you just smiling from cheek to cheek. And he's like, could I try the helmet? And he put the helmet on, then he gets the ball, and he start like he has that passion, that love, and you can only want him to do
want him
well.
on your team. Exactly. Yeah, you want him on your team.
Mm.
Now I don't know about his life choices.
That's what I'm saying. I hope that don't affect, because I think certain things may happen, but I think he's gonna get through it regardless.
And here's the thing. Here's the problem with that. There, before we get out of here, right now we got all the jokes and everything about the gold digger, but here's the thing. I'm almost rooting for him now, even though I feel like it's a bad situation for him, because God forbid if he lose her, it ain't no way in the world it's not going to affect his play.
Well, I think he may use that as his play as an outlet, because I don't think he's playing for money. I think
he's definitely a purist as far as the love of the game.
Yeah, and I just think like when I found out the wedding was moved to Tennessee was the location, and I know Tennessee is a state that doesn't they don't recognize prenups. Like I was like, there's a reason why she chose Tennessee. Out of all the amazing places in Georgia, Smyrna, Vinings, it's so many places. Even like North Carolina, Grove Park Inn, Asheville,
even
like
Florida.
they have the same scenes that Tennessee got.
Yeah.
But so, Tennessee offers that one
thing. They just announced the pregnancy this weekend.
Oh yeah, hey.
So he's stuck. We stuck with her for now. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say I don't want to see her show her true colors, because I want to see how good of a football player he could possibly be. I already know it's going to affect her if she say, if she try to pull out and, she get caught, cheat, all this other kind of stuff. I don't know. You can't tell nobody what to do. They still kids to us, but you can't tell nobody how to live their life. Yeah. I just wish that I would like to think that, knowing how Dion treats all of them, all his players like his own sons and whatnot, I would think that Dion, we talking about Dion. You see where he going through.
Well, he said he wanted to, but I think Travis told him, no, I'm good,
Exactly. And I can't make you accept my love or take my advice and all that there. But listen to what I tell you. Whether you want to hear it or not, look at my life, bro. Look what happened to me. Yeah. And I ain't gonna never talk about. I ain't going into too much detail because I know that Shador and Shiloh is your brothers. But look what the situation with me and their mother. We can't even be on the same field at the same time. Dion,
man, I saw that the senior day. when Dion was walking and he saw her and he U-turned like
Yo, I was laughing because he took the words right out of my mouth. I had already said it. And Shiloh was messing with it. He said, boy, you cut like you had 10 whole toes.
yeah.
Yeah,
I hope
yo,
Shiloh
Shiloh is
do
a
a
fool,
show.
man.
Yeah.
Even when you watch it, it's a clip too. I have posted that one where he's sitting there or waiting on the draft, waiting for Shador to get picked up. And it's him, Shalimar, the daughter, the sister, and Pilar. She's standing in the background. He got the must be the money, playing at the DI song playing in the background. He's like, this was you, mommy. It was the money like that he was talking about.
Yeah.
Shiloh is a fool, man. I love me some Shiloh, man. But like I said,
Yeah.
man, I'm excited because I haven't been this excited about football in a while. Because the older that I get, I do feel conflicted. Even as much as I love the game of football, I don't like the whole, let's say, practice of it, so to speak. Because people that's in my inner circle, they be like, man, you got to stop comparing it to slavery. And I've never said that it's the same as slavery. I said it's the same concept. You know what I mean? It's the same practice, rather. When you think in terms of how we see the movies and Roots and all that there, when they come over off the ships and they making them get naked and checking the women hips and they breasts and let me see your teeth and all that there. The combine ain't no different. The
Yeah, but
combine
you know
no
the
different.
difference?
The money.
You literally changing your life. And
Absolutely.
that was one of the things that I told somebody about Colin Kaepernick. I'm like, how you gonna do this TV event showing the draft like slaves and all that stuff, and then now you begging to get into it?
Mm-hmm. That's
Like
what I'm saying. I ain't got no dog in the fight. I ain't trying to make the league. My dreams is over.
yeah,
I'm just saying I can't ignore that I see or I notice parallels. How, even the way they treated as far as retired players and all the stuff that we see about CTE and all the damage that it does to these players long term. Just think about it. Hell, we call the people that own the franchise what? Owners. Like, and I'm not comparing to slavery because you making $230 million. So I'm not saying it's the same as slavery whatsoever. However, when I talk about the structure of it, you know what I mean? I sound like Michael Irvin said earlier. I signed this contract, but I'm loyal to you as a player, but you could cut me or trade me or do whatever you want to me at the drop of a dime. You know what I mean? I don't think that should be right. You know what I mean? I don't
well,
think
that's
that.
all sports,
But that's what I'm just saying. That the practice, not just the NFL, but professional sports overall. Like I said, because the NBA do the same thing. It's just not as much as like the combine to me.
No, the NBA combine, they measure the hands, the feet,
how far you could jump.
Yeah,
And,
they measure
all that.
they got to run a pro shuttle. They
Yeah.
So
I just think that it's a little bit more extreme when it comes to the NFL because it's broken down, and it rightfully so. But it's broken down into positions. Let me see. They ain't worried about how many reps 225 receivers can bench like they do with the linemen and all that. There. So it's like slavery. All right, you're gonna be in the cotton field. We're gonna put you in the cook. We're gonna put you in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be the one that drive the horse for me. Those type things. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying that it's the same exact thing, but I see similarities in both. The way that
like
it's
you
done.
see the 400-pound dude that just got cut.
Nah, for
who? He was like the heaviest player he was like 6'6", 421 pounds. And he was about 450. They drafted him and they said, you got to lose weight until you get in the 300s, you will not play. So he dropped 27 pounds. So he was like about 418 to 412. And they just cut him. So it's like, I'm like, I can't imagine being 6'6", almost 500 pounds as an NFL player because he ran like a 5'1", 40. that's a lot of weight to move.
That ain't bad though for that
That's what
size,
I'm.
like that heavy. Yeah,
I think that's why
5'1".
he got drafted. I'm trying to think of his who he picked up with player cut for not losing weight.
And where was
But
he?
yeah,
Was
he
he out
was
of
just at
Baylor?
practice. I think it was Tampa Bay.
But what college did he come out of? Was it Baylor? Because I remember seeing a special on this real big dude
I
out of
think so.
one of those green and gold schools. I want to say Baylor, but I'm not sure if that was Baylor or not. But I remember this dude was like super big.
I think it was, but he wasn't muscular big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nah, yeah, he
Desmond
was
Watson.
big.
He's the heaviest player in NFL history.
Who was that?
Desmond Watson.
And what college did he go to?
Tampa Bay. Hold on. Man, I know it's. I thought it was Baylor. Let me. I'm like, why you gonna draft him at 450?
No, I said he was at Florida.
Oh, Florida. Okay.
Yeah. One of the largest players in NCAA Division I football history. He played for Florida from 2021 to 2024. He signed with the Buccaneers as an undrafted free agent on April 26, 2005, and was waived on August 25th.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, for defense, that's entirely too heavy.
Yeah,
maybe offense, you could be good because
on the line,
because all you got to do is really stand there and do some through the middle
and
block.
make it difficult for defenders to get around you. Especially if he quick enough. You know what I mean?
But the defender, man, you
space.
think after 2 or 3 full snaps, that
Yeah.
joker probably winded.
But yeah, man, thanks for joining me, man.
No, I appreciate you.
Out here. Yeah, man. I'm like I said, despite everything else and all my hardships with it, I'm really looking forward to. I can't remember the last time I've actually sit down and watched NFL game from start.
Man, YouTube is messing me up because you can sit there and just look at all the highlights of every game now.
That's what I'm saying. And all these sports shows, like what's the name doing? They do an exceptional job at it. NFL Network. I forgot the name of it, but the one that come on after that, all the games are done with Chris Rose and them. They do a good job of recapping every game throughout that happened that day or that throughout that week. So I'm just really looking forward to it. I have not watched this much preseason football in my entire life. Like I've really been watching
this the most I've watched. Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward, and I'm glad that we finally made it to this time of year because I'm not a big baseball fan. Even though I got my Yankees on right now, but that's what I've been cheering, just watching in the background. Because it seemed like I was telling my brother the last 2 weeks they've been kind of stinking it up. But every game I don't watch in the last 2 weeks they done won, and they're up 6-1 right now. So about to finish watching this game, grab me something to eat.
Yeah, the Yankees and the Red Sox, they got those unlimited pockets.
Mm-hmm. Man, and I ain't never say who I was coming out the AFC, but I was liking Buffalo until they just had a defensive lineman that they gonna be missing for the had a season end injury. I can't think of his name.
It wasn't Ed Oliver, was it?
I don't think he wears 75. They lost him. He just tore his Achilles. I just remember seeing that it was and they was expecting him to be because they got 2 defensive linemen that's missing the first 6 games due to suspension. So he was supposed to be a big vital part of that. And I'm like, Buffalo, they can't afford to be missing nobody. They're gonna need all the pieces to come out the AFC. So I'm not as big on Buffalo as I was. I would like to see Lamar finally get one. I just want to see Kansas City get dethroned.
Yeah, I think Lamar, his window, not as far as him, but the Ravens.
They don't have that same defense that they always had.
Yeah, I think the competition is getting that much challenging
mm-hmm.
that I don't think he's gonna get one now. Not in Baltimore, but I would like to see him get one though,
Yeah, we'll see. Some
especially
stuff.
how he was done during the draft. You
Mhm.
know,
And again, what? But I was talking about the Giants, but gotta watch out for That's my sleeper. Gotta watch out for the Redskins, man. Them Washington coming out of there.
oh man,
We're
they
picking up
ain't no
Von Miller.
sleeper.
They
They
don't.
they ain't
Listen,
no sleeper. They
it's
there.
scary. They had a Von Miller. Like the pickups that they made is like, yo, come on, man. How everybody was already better than us. We was the bottom of the division, and the whole division get better, and we got the toughest schedule. Even though we got better, it's like we can't catch a break. But
The
I
only
do.
thing that can mess them up is like Detroit injuries.
Mm-hmm. But we get started. We less than 48 hours away, baby. Who is it? Green Bay. I mean, not Dallas and Philly Thursday night.
Yeah, I think that may be like UNC and TCU.
I gotta look that up. I just say I don't even know. Did I guess UNC lost?
Oh, they got blown out.
That's what I hear because I seen the different posts on Facebook, but I never got a chance to go look at the box score.
They didn't have a pass for the last 2 hours and 15 minutes of the game. They didn't complete one pass. Now they came out. You thought UNC was about to blow them out. Like they came out. That QB, I was like, oh, he the real deal. But then, man, TCU, they was playing like that year that they wasn't ranked, and they
Uh-huh.
made it all the
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they was playing like that. I was like, and
That
then
particular year was both them and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State
TCU
had the
came in
brothers.
there with shirts that said 1-0. Like I said, how disrespectful can you be? Like you at
Yeah,
UNC
because they were
and
here,
you,
right? They played at Chapel Hill, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. How disrespectful. All their shirts, the coaches, they all had 1-0 on it.
See, now you got me. You talking about YouTube? Now I got to go watch the Bill Belichick his post game conference, because it was, to me, that's like, it's two people that I hate to see leave, and we go after this. But it's two people I absolutely love to see they post game conferences when they lose, and that's ain't nothing like a Bill Belichick after he lose, and that daggone Nick Saban. That's like TV gold, because them dudes hate lose, and
Well,
they
Nick
hate
Saban
answering the
didn't
question.
lose too many.
Huh?
I said Nick Saban didn't lose too many, but Bill Belichick,
Yeah, that's why it
boy,
was beautiful.
they looking bad. Like that, they look bad
And
that
again,
game.
once again, I said it earlier, but once again, boy, I love the way we rolled that tide this past weekend, boy. Florida State, boy, man,
Yeah, yeah.
we did what we were supposed to do. I was not surprised. A lot of people, oh my God, might have been the biggest shock of the week. Alabama is not Alabama no more, bro. I don't care what you say. As much as I don't like Nick Saban, I think he's a coward. You know what I mean? It was with Nick Saban. My problem with Nick Saban was it was no problem when you had this NIL, and even though it wasn't
The transfer
NIL,
portal.
yeah, you know, all this, everything that he was doing, like everything, it was so much stuff that it'd come out 20, 30 years from now that Nick Saban was doing that he didn't get exposed for. But come on, bro. There's no way in the world you get the best running backs every year for, the last 10, 15 years. He did the same thing at LSU. Like, you got to be doing something, bro. You got to be doing something that ain't permitted. But now that the NIL come along and everybody on the same playing field, now all of a sudden you want to retire and quit because you know what I mean.
Well,
Even Deion had got in a
I think
conversation about that.
he said like when he went on a visit to one of the recruits, the first thing they said, "How much money you paying me?" Like he said that right there was like his eye opener. Like that was the beginning of the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said for them not to regulate the transfer portal. So he's basically like a player can right before the college football playoffs, a player could leave, enter the portal, and get picked up by one of the teams
Mm-hmm.
in the college football playoffs, and they know all the schemes, all the calls, and to me, that right there, I saw that he had a valid point. I
Yeah.
think like you shouldn't be able to enter the portal until after the championship is played. when the season officially ends.
Yeah,
Because
like not
you
during
even
the
had
season.
some teams that was probably paying players to come so they can just win. I mean, look what happened to Central, NCC Central when they cut 5 guys off the basketball team because they were throwing games for betting.
Nah, I ain't see about that.
Yeah, they found out that they were shaving points and stuff so they can meet the spread on because they legalized betting in North Carolina for college sports. So
Yeah,
5 players got
he's
cut.
right. He's right as far as the portal, but I call BS on everything else. He say like, how much money you paying me? Because that ain't the trust me. That is not the first time Nick Saban heard those words. How much money you paying me? It's just now you want to. It sound good in theory because you can use that as an excuse, but now, come on, man. They all talk about that.
Well, the one good thing about the NIL now that what schools can pay, there can no longer be paid from third parties.
I like that.
The school can't pay more than $2.5 million.
Okay.
Out.
They did put a cap on it.
Because it was unlimited before. Because I think NC State had like $117 million that boosters had collected to like pay the players.
But that I ain't mad at that as far as a cap for that, but at the same time, like that doesn't apply to everything else. Like a lot of these kids, they with the what's the chicken place? Canes. Like I still like the fact that they could go out here and get their own little money. Matter of fact, I just read an article this weekend how Seth Trimble just bought the Ben and Jerry's there in Chapel Hill. He actually owns that out right now. So I like that they
think about like Todd Gurley, how he got in trouble for signing $700 for signing autographs, and now it's like fair game now.
Yeah,
imagine
Todd was a beast.
Like imagine how much he could have made with NIL back in Georgia when he was there.
Man, forget him, Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush,
all of them.
Reggie Bush would have made $100 million back then.
Yeah,
because Reggie Bush to this day, I think I still put Reggie up there as one of the, if not the best, one of the best college players I ever seen in my life. I know pros and college are two different things. They don't always, matriculate to the next level. But Reggie, one of the best things I ever seen when it comes to college football, bro. Ever. Reggie was different. And he made it look good. Yeah, I want to play. He made people say, I want to play football. I want to try to.
He was the real deal.
But yeah, man, we gonna get back together next week. See how things go. Like I said, I'm just excited for this first week, and I hope everybody have a good, safe week. Again, if you get a chance, shout out to my boy Carmelo Anthony being inducted to the Hall of Fame this Saturday, September 6th. I think it's well deserved. We talked about it before. Dwight Howard, I don't know, but congratulations to Dwight Howard as well.
Yeah.
But and everybody, all the rest of the inductees too, that's going in on this weekend. But I hope everybody has a safe week. But please again keep my girl Nyambi and the rest of the Harris family in your prayers this week as she's laying the rest of her dad and everybody else that's going through. I hope everybody has a good, productive, and safe week. Love on each other while you still can, and let's not stop taking life and time for granted. It's very essential that we utilize the time that we have wisely, very wisely, and with the ones that we really care about. So with that being said, as usual, and signing off, DeAndre and Life should know that Daddy loves you intentionally, but I also love you unconditionally. Till next week, peace.